Hi, Pattie. Will you be needing to share your screen?
Hey there.
Hey, Adrian.
I didn't realize my speaker was turned off.
Oh, hi, Kevin.
He is going to share her screen.
Okay, I'm going to make you the host then.
Want me sharing? Okay. Good morning.
Morning.
Hey.
Well, yeah, I've made you the host and we'll just wait a few more minutes.
Okay.
And then, yeah, and this is already recording, so we're all set with that too.
Okay. Thanks, Imani. How are you doing? Are you feeling good?
Yeah, I'm feeling way better.
Oh, good. That's awesome.
Yeah. How are you?
I'm doing well so far. I have not had gotten any COVID, or I also haven't had my vaccine yet. So
yeah.
My husband did though. I'm kind of a chicken with shots, so I need to get brave and go get one.
I know I'm a chicken too. Like, even though I have tattoos, I'm still not a fan of needles.
Oh, I see. No, I would never do that. I mean, even if I loved them, I would never do it.
I don't know what it is. Like I can never, whenever they like do shots, I just have to like look like at the person doing it and talk to them, or just like look somewhere else. Because
Yeah.
I hate like seeing the blood.
Let me go look at my printouts. Hang on one sec, guys.
Okay.
Okay, this is for today for showing. I'm going to Canton to show house. I need to. I'm going to print out my little.
Hey, Patricia.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
I'm great. How are you? Is
I'm
that
great.
on?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm off my screen for a second to look for something. So
Yeah. And I'm going to encourage everybody that's on the call to just show your face. It's so energetic and such an encouragement for the presenter when we, thank you, Amy, when we show our faces. Because, you know, this COVID environment where we're not in the office and we don't get a chance to reach out and touch and hug and talk to people. We just need to bring the energy and the warmth to the Zoom, which means showing your beautiful faces.
Oh.
And yeah, there you go.
I wasn't ready for that.
Hey,
There it is. I think the picture looks better.
you look great. If you have wet hair like me, it's okay. It will dry. It's all good. Come on, Bala. You more than anybody else. Handsome Bala. You don't have to fix your hair. Let's go. There you are, Amanda.
I'm driving.
Oh, you're driving. Okay, yeah, we want you to be safe. Amanda's about to drive. Amy's driving, so guess
I'm
what?
actually on my way to an open house to work an open house today in this mess.
Wonderful. People love coming out in the rain.
Yes, but I want to hear this so bad. Like I've been waiting ever since you told me that there was going to that Pattie was going to be doing this. I'm
yeah.
Oh, well, thank you.
Excited. Yes. You've been doing this a long time in East Cobb, correct?
Yes.
I grew up in East Cobb and I remember seeing your signs.
Oh, wow. Thank
Yes.
you.
Yes.
Nice. And so, guys, if you're just now jumping on, we're talking about the age of Zoom and COVID. And we're asking, you know, if you're okay where you are, please show your faces so we can bring the energy to the Zoom. Because, you know, we're not in the office. We're, you know, those of you who've been in the office for a while, we eat a lot normally in the office. And, you know, every chance we get right, Nisha, for a class, we're like, hey, we need a sponsor. We need some food. Well, we haven't been able to do that. And this feels like the longest year ever. That's turning into a couple of 2 years. So please put your faces on so we can see ya.
Look at this face.
I know. That's such a handsome face here. All right.
Proud mama.
All right, so if you guys now may, I honor the ones who are on time. And so I would love to take an opportunity to welcome my friend Pattie to this call and just thank her so very much for her time because she's absolutely busy. She's consistently one of Jim's top 10%, if not 1% in the office. And she's been on the ALC now, which is your Agent Leadership Council, guys, for, I don't know, 13 years, which says a lot, right? Because it takes a lot to get on the ALC and it takes even a harder time to stay on the ALC. Just for perspective, Pattie, can you tell them how long you've been a realtor and with this particular office?
Oh, sure. Well, I was a new realtor a little over 16 years ago, and it'll be 17 years this November. And I have been with this office the whole time. So I just, I lucked into the right company and I've never left.
She's so blessed, you all. And I know, right? Because we've been around for a little bit and we get calls like monthly from people wanting us to come join because of a cheaper product. And our thing is, right, you know, it's not always about cheaper, it's about value and about where I can grow, right? And so just for perspective, Patty, if you feel comfortable, just say what your GCI or your number of units were last year, or an average between the last couple of years.
Oh, I couldn't really tell you an average. I mean, right now we're ahead of our goal. It's been a crazy year. I think last year we ended up at about like a little under 190. It actually wasn't a stellar year, but but I did enjoy the about 2 months off. I mean, we made our care calls, but my husband took off and I kind of sort of took off along with him, and we did home projects and had a good time together. So, so anyway, so I guess, you know, that being said, but this year we've already closed 9 units, and our GCI is at 145 right now. So
hold it right there. Did you guys hear that? She's ahead of our GCI goal, right? Her gross is already $145,000. Okay, show of hands or thumbs or blow your horn or whatever. Who will take $145,000 this year? Okay, there you go, John. There you go. All right, so it's already
Adrian.
there you go, Kimberly. There you go. It's already March, so January, February, March, and she's already made 145. So what are the chances that we're gonna double that? And she's at 145 plus 145. What is that? 290, 300 this year?
300 was our annual goal this year. So
okay.
The thing is, we don't know what's
she's gonna blow right through that goal.
I do. I think she will.
I think she's gonna blow right through that goal. So guys, did I make the right choice when I brought her on so we could all learn from her?
Absolutely.
Yep. Absolutely. All right, thank you. So Miss Patty, there's nothing more that I need to say. You just go ahead, take it away.
Thank you.
I'm gonna grab my notebook, which is
I'm going to put all of your nice words of compliments and everything in my back pocket, because, you know, realtors can be the worst about getting negative thoughts going in their head. And so when someone praises you about your business, then you need to just like put those thoughts into your pocket and keep them with you. Thank you so much. I am going to share a screen. I made an outline for today so we could make sure that we cover a lot of different things. But I've never actually done the group coaching. So I've done a lot of Ignite classes. So I'm not, I'm assuming that it's a little bit of a mastermind and coaching kind of, sharing thoughts and everything. So, so my share screen. Oh, right there. Okay. So finding listings, for one, as we all know, with the Keller Williams model, and really any real estate agent in this, anybody in this industry should always try to lead with listings. Unless of course you are a buyer's agent, but even then you're going to get more buyers if you help your team get more listings. So, even if you're, committed to being a buyer's agent on a team, then it's still good to be always looking for listings. Just like in Keller Williams, always good to be looking for talent. So those two things in mind, because as you grow your business, even if you're not ready to hire an assistant or hire other people, then you want to keep that in mind, that you're always looking for people that you can talk to and keep, kind of keep in touch with. And then when you're ready to grow and to add people and make a team, then you've got some great people already in your connection. So finding listings. I'm going to start with what I consider to be the most important. I know different agents run their business different ways. We focus heavily on our SOI, sphere of influence. Some people call it the center of influence. And so those are people And, when it comes to your SOI, you want to definitely not let any of them fall through the cracks. So we use Command. We used to use Top Producer, and we've completely moved everything into Command. And so we use the contact. We have the task set up. Kevin is always in charge of this. So if I say the terms wrong or whatever, then the verbiage wrong for the Command stuff, then please let me know. But So sphere of influence is your number one, that's going to be your number one source if you really stay in touch with them. And we have found that with calling them is that we find different reasons to call them. I feel like if we just call them, we call it all of our sphere quarterly. So, and that doesn't include, the postcards we send out. We farm certain neighborhoods, and then we send out postcards to our sphere of influence as well. We send birthday cards. Sometimes we're kind of hit or miss on that. We're trying to get better about making sure we get the birthday cards out. We send out cards and send them a cute little text when they've had like their 1-year anniversary in their home. So all those things to keep you in mind, even after you close with them, is what helps to bring them back to you when they think about buying or selling, or when they have a friend that does. So we call them 4 times a year. We have one event during the year, which is our barbecue. It's October. So the fourth quarter is very easy for us because we just call everybody to invite. So we send out an invitation, then I call everyone, and then we text everyone. And I mean, we hit them up about 6 times just in that one quarter because of the barbecue. The other, like in January, we kind of make it around what are your goals for the year, whatever it is, their family goals, their, just what our goals are for the year, and just touching base with them. Of course, with COVID, it was, last year it was all, care calls, and we're still following up with care calls because this has continued. And then, and so we kind of have a theme when we call every month. Sometimes it gets a little off depending on the person. With your SOI, I would work really hard to become Facebook friends with them if you're not. Even if they're not somebody who you're, like you don't know them super, like maybe they're a parent from your child's class that your child plays with, or, so you haven't maybe socialized with them outside of the fact that you meet up when your kids get together. But I would, just become Facebook friends with all of them, because that way you can also kind of, I hate to say it, but stalk them a little bit. And, so if you stalk them a little bit, then you can, and plus stuff just pops up. But, when you call that person about whatever it is, say it's our barbecue, but I can also say, wow, I just noticed that, Lisa got accepted to whatever college, and, that is so exciting, congratulations. So you can add in some personal stuff, and they're like, wow, she really cares about me. So, what the biggest thing is that they know that you care about them, that you're not just calling to get business out of them. We do throw that in, not all the time, but, at the end of the call, we might say, oh, by the way, if you know of anyone that's thinking about moving, we're really short on inventory right now. Just, please, let us know. We've got tons of buyers that, can't find homes. And so you can throw it in there, just be very subtle about it. I'm not a bold one about calling and just saying, hey, this is, I used to do this and I felt like it scared off a lot of people, but, this is a business call, and who do you know? I feel like if you just make it very personal, that they continue to think about you. So does anybody have any questions about your sphere of influence, or is anybody in a situation where maybe they're newer to the area and they just don't really have an SOI in this area?
I have a quick question.
Okay.
I'm not new to the area, but I am brand new to real estate.
Okay.
And this is one thing I've wondered about with my sphere of influence is like when you're doing those cards, like the birthday cards, or for people who aren't your clients yet, they're just friends. Do you do that on like a Keller Williams stationery?
No, in fact, I never use Keller Williams stationery.
Okay. I think that's what's I'm like running into is like, even recently I talked to a friend of mine and she was like, oh my gosh, I forgot that you're in real estate now. And I'm like, how do I continue to put that in front of people without seeming salesy?
To me, it's like, I feel like it comes up kind of organically anyway, when you talk to them. So like if you're making your quarterly calls like you should, then a little real estate will come into it. Okay. Usually the people I call bring it up with me. They'll say, like right now they're like, oh my gosh, I've heard the market's really hot. And then it gives that opening to me to talk a little bit about it and just say, oh, you can't, you wouldn't believe it. We had a house and it had 20 offers on it. But we have really learned a great technique for navigating through that to make sure that we can do the best for our, seller. And, So, you know, yeah, those things just kind of work into it.
The conversation.
Now, when you're newer in real estate, of course, you haven't been, you know, maybe your name hasn't been out there long enough with them to always remember right away, but that's where quarterly calls are super important. Okay. And you can set that up in your command. So we have it. So I have to pull up Kevin set it all up for me, but you know, I go into my tasks and I go to I scroll back to the very last of the tax, or the oldest, make sure I'm not missing anything. And we have our quarterly calls in there, but we also have birthdays in there. We have like leads that we need to follow up with. So when I pull it up, it reminds me of who I need to call that day.
Okay. But when you send anything like congratulations, it's truly just personal. You're just.
Well, I mean, it's a quarterly, you know, it's a quarterly call. Or I'm calling even separately if it is someone who I'm like, oh gosh, that's a great reason to call them right now. You know, I still feel like it's really just keeping you in their head.
Yeah.
And, you know, if you keep in their head, they're going to remember you're in real estate, because you're also going to be doing, you know, you're going to be saying things here and there, or marketing if you market, or doing things on Facebook. So you have, you know, they're in your Facebook friends, and keep it personal. I would say 75 to even higher % of the time.
Okay.
But if you have a closing, you know, put it on there. Well, I'm so excited for my clients, you know, Fred and Amy, and, you know, whatever, you know, and, you know, have a picture of them maybe in front of their house or at the closing. Those things are going to remind them that you're in real estate. So, you know, it's kind of the combination of keeping it personal because you want them to know you care, but also, you know, also reminding them that you're in the business by having those posts on Facebook, by, you know, you can do a lot of things like that just keep putting you out there in their head. So I know a lot of newer agents don't spend money on, oh, look at it.
I know I have a little assistant here today. So.
A lot of people, you know, when you're new in the business, you're not necessarily going to spend money on postcards and things like that because it's very expensive, you know, or you could start small. You can say, you know what, I've got these top 50 people that I want to just do a postcard out once every 2 months or once a month and keep it really small so it's more affordable. We do like about 1,000 postcards out, and it's not even monthly. I mean, our intention is to be monthly, but we usually end up, you know, you get busy and then it ends up being a couple of weeks late. So I would say we do about 8 postcards a year. And, but people remember, I mean, I've been to appointments where people have all my postcards laying out on the table and it's like, they've collected my postcards and they're like, oh yeah, we've been following you, you know? So it's good to get some kind of marketing in front of them as soon as you can. But definitely the calls and everything are what's going to do it. So they will start remembering you. One thing I will say is I notice a lot of agents from our office put out signs, directionals when they do open houses, and they do not have their name on them. And I have to say that is huge. You know, who I'm not even sure who was talking because I was off the screen at the time, but someone said they remember my name from my signs. You've got to have you need to get some directionals of your own, and you need to get stickers with your name on it, because that's where people are driving by, especially if it's really heavy in your area. If you do a lot of open houses in your sphere of influence area, then even the people in your sphere are going to start seeing your name, and they remember you. You know, sometimes you'll meet people and they'll say, wow, your name sounds really familiar. And it's probably because they've been by your sign several times over the years. So start getting your names on your signs and get them out there, and, you know, really do a lot of directionals when you do open houses. So any other questions about SOI? No? Okay. So cold call. I have to say cold calling is one of my favorite things. Some people do not like it. I actually like it over even calling my SOI. I just like cold calls, even though some people get mad and hang up on you. I don't care. It's just a way to do it. So you can pay for services to get numbers. I have found I'm going to share this with you, a free way to do it right now. Now, eventually they're going to start probably charging, because that's what happens. You find these great services and then they start charging for it. But fastpeoplesearch.com. Is that right? Fast People Search. Yeah, that pops up automatically for me now. But I got rid of I was using Cole Realty. What was that called? Cole Resource. whole resource, whatever, for a long time. And I started finding that, I just felt like the numbers were usually about 50% right. So now I have this free service where the numbers are about 50% right. So I'm gonna share Kevin's gonna share the link with you guys. And so there's lots of reasons to call around a neighborhood. You can be calling for your buyers, which can bring you listings. You can call around your listings to let people know that you're listing a home coming up, and who do they know? They would love to pick their new neighbor if they have a friend that loves their neighborhood. You guys see that? Okay, good. And but anyway, so one of the differences with using this versus using Cole is that Cole, you can pull up a whole street at a time. You can't do that in this service. So what I do is I go to the tax records and I just look for like the addresses on a street, and then I usually try to even look at their name so that, to make sure it's the correct current resident. And then I just pull them at one at a time. So I'm not a speed dial person. You'll take a lot of classes where they'll say, oh, what are some of the ones that Autherine would know?
Yeah. Oh gosh.
Mojo.
Yeah. So it's just not my style. But you might be the kind of person who loves to do that speed dialing. So I do it obviously the pokey slow way, but it works for me. Anyway, so with this service, you can call around the neighborhood, and you'll like I said, you might get 20 to 25% of the people. Though if you get them and have the right scripts, practice your scripts, and know what to say to them when you call. So if you're calling, say you're calling for your new listing that's coming up in the neighborhood, or you're even calling for, maybe of an agent in our office that's listing a home in the neighborhood next door. And so you call around the neighborhood close by that's a step up to that neighborhood. So like they're listing a home for 600, you call the neighborhood that's like 400 to 500. And you just say, hey, just in case you've been thinking about a move to a larger home, our office is, my broker is, however you want to say it, our office or whatever is listing a home in the next, 20 days. And I would love to tell you about it if you've thought about making a move up in size. And, just things like that. I mean, you could say, just wanted to let you know in case you have any friends that want to move to the area. So come up with a script, practice it well so that it sounds natural and not robotic. And that's the important thing about practicing scripts, so we don't sound robotic. And just try to reach people that way. And we have met lots of clients through open houses, door knocking, and cold calling. And then the key is to stay in touch with them, because you might get someone who's like ready to go, but most of the people you get a hold of that are nice and you have a conversation with, you're going to be adding them to your database. They're telling you, oh, we're thinking about moving in a couple of years. So be that agent, just really stay in touch with them. So, any questions about cold calling around listings or?
Yes. Hi, Pattie.
Yes. Hi.
Hi, how are you? So when you cold call, right, a lot of time, you don't get somebody answering the call. So you leave a message, right? I
leave a message. That's what I will tell you. I'll tell you my weaknesses. One of my weaknesses is not being ready for that usually. So I don't have, I don't always have a script planned, and I'll end up kind of like going on a little bit, on that message. Don't go on a lot on the message. Just say, hi, I have some great news about your neighborhood, about, a wonderful new listing coming up, and would love to tell you about it in case you know anyone. And that's about it. Like, keep it a mystery so they have a reason to call you back. If you just say you're a real estate agent, they won't call you back. It's got to be something that intrigues them, that they're like, ooh, new listing coming up. I wonder where it's at. I wonder how much it's going to be. So, just give them enough information that makes it intriguing. And then, so.
And what do you feel the best time to call? Morning, during the day, or evening?
Night? I feel like I have better luck in the afternoon personally, but we, sorry, Autherine, no buts. We taken bold too many times. I should know better. you know, I don't know that there's always really a best time. Right now, with people working out of the house, I don't think you can really go wrong. I do think that if you call around, you know, depends on the area you're calling around too. Like, you know, calling around East Cobb, I always feel like a lot of people have kids. So if you call between 5 and 7, they might almost be annoyed with you because they have kids, and that's kind of the bewitching hour, you know, they're getting dinner ready and working, dealing with homework and stuff. I would say, you know, I would say try different times and see what works best for you. Bless you. So, yeah, we don't really have a certain time that, you know, I mean, I tend to make calls more in the afternoon. So maybe that's why I've had more success with afternoons over mornings. So, and before COVID, we used to do a lot of door knocking too. So that replaced some of my cold calling with door knocking. And for that, when you're working with buyers, door knocking is great because people really, most people feel like, you know, like we want to help you because you're asking for help. People love to help you when you want help. So we have a card that we can share with you if you can find that, like our door knocking card that has all of our buyers listed on it. Yeah. Anyway, Kevin will try to find this card for me. But anyway, so we have a little card. We use cardstock to make it kind of nice. And we'll put on there, you know, we'll have our header at the top or your logo or even just your name, you know, and, you know, whatever you use right now to look professional at the top. And then we list whatever buyers we have. And honestly, you could even put someone else's buyers on there if you don't have your own, you know, talk to agents. You know, when you hear those agents at the team meeting bringing up their buyer needs, you know, that's a good opportunity for you to throw them on a card with their permission and just say, hey, I'm going to go try to find you a home for this person that, you know, you said they like these neighborhoods in this area. And, you know, with their permission, just put that person's name on the card, and you don't have to say they're your buyer because they're not. You just go around and you say, hey, you know, one of the agents in our office needs a home for this particular person or these 3 people. And I thought I would just, you know, try to help them out because, you know, whatever. So come up with your script and go door knock. And, you know, right now, if you door knock, it's, you know, it's a little iffy. I think it's going to get better soon because of everybody getting vaccinated. So just make sure you kind of have, I think for door knocking right now, the best thing to do is to have your mask ready to go over your face, but don't cover yourself completely. Because I think that people want to see who's at their door. Ring the doorbell and step back like 5 feet, you know, step back, you know, a lot. And so that, you know, and kind of have your face showing. And as soon as they come to the door, then say, hey, and then put it on. So it's a little bit trickier right now. And some people won't answer their door because of the pandemic, but.
Pattie, what kind of thing would you say when you're cold calling? I mean, if it's just I don't know. I guess you're.
Give me an example of what you would like the script for.
You're just trying to, I guess, finding listings because you've got lots of buyers.
Okay. So, you know, I never call it to say I'm looking for listings. There's got to be a reason because again, you want them to want to help you. So, you know, it can be over a buyer or it can be just sharing, you know, a valuable information to them, such as, you know, the fact that you have a listing coming up in the neighborhood. And so if I was calling, say I have a new listing in a neighborhood, I would call and just say, hi, this is Pattie Jackson. I know that you're not looking for another home in your neighborhood, but you do have such a beautiful neighborhood. And I am listing a home in this neighborhood in 1 week. So I just wondered if you have any friends that would also love to live in your beautiful neighborhood. You know, so it's very simple. It's just kind of complimenting their neighborhood. You know, and I always say that up front because I found, you know, years ago when I was using the script without I know you don't want another home in your neighborhood. So that's kind of your kind of break it up kind of funny thing to say sort of. And because people will say, well, I don't need another home in my neighborhood. I already have a home in my neighborhood. So if you just kind of put that up front, then it kind of breaks the ice a little bit and, you know, and that way, but it's a very short and sweet. And then, you know, if they're a person that doesn't want to talk to you at all, they're going to say, thanks, see you later, you know, and it's fine. You know, scratch them out. But most likely you're going to get people that when you can get a hold of people, you're going to get people that actually are appreciative of you letting them know. And they might say, you know, I don't know anybody. And it's like, oh, well, that's fine. You know what, though, now that I put this little bug in your ear, you know, you might actually hear about someone who's thinking about making a move. And if you could let them know about that, or I could help them find something else, then that would be great. You know, I know, you know, people that you work with, your friends, your family, kind of put that out there with them, because they don't always think about the fact that think about work people, they might just think they're friends. They're 5 friends they see the most. So, kind of put a little ideas in their head to help them think, okay, yeah, church, whatever, and friends, co-workers, family members. But, keep the conversation going by, as you guys have all learned through Ignite and everything, is that you want to keep the conversation going by asking questions. So continue to ask really good questions. So what if they say, oh, well, how much is that house going on the market for? And then you might say, what's going on for this? Is that something you've been curious about? Would you like me to, give you an idea of the value of your home? So keep the questions coming out so that you keep them going and engaged. And then when you have a listing and you can call around a neighborhood like that, it's a great way to get email addresses out of people. I mean, you've already got their phone number because you got a hold of them. So you at least have a home line or a cell phone line. And so to ask for their email, it's like, listen, I'd be happy to keep you up on the results of this home, as soon as we go under contract and even what we sell for. Would you be interested in that? And don't ask for their email before you ask that question. Okay. And then they're going to say, hopefully, yes. And then you say, oh, great. Well, what's the best email to send you the information? And I'll even send you the listing as soon as it becomes available. And as soon as I put it on the market, and then you can even share it with any friends that you think might be interested. So, they're going to want to know. They're going to be like, oh, I'm in the know.
Yeah. No, that's really great. Thank you. What about if you have no listings and you only have buyers?
Well, then you call around for your buyers. So again, you call around for, and you say, hi, this is Pattie Jackson. I'm sure you have heard that the inventory is just crazy low right now. And it is so hard to find a home for our buyers. And on top of that, when we do find a home, there's competition on every single home. They're all going for like way over top dollar. So I thought that I would just be proactive for my buyers and start calling around their favorite neighborhoods. And yours is one of them. Have you thought about selling it all? And they're like, no, not right now. And they might even say, yeah, maybe in a year or so when our daughter graduates. So that's, that person you want to keep going, because that's that person you want to keep in touch with. But they also might say, well, I think, my neighbor was thinking about selling, and, it's like, oh, great. Do you, would you mind sharing their information with me? And a lot of times they're going to say no, and just say, well, that's okay. Can you tell me a little bit about their house? Are they right next door to you? Or, and if you can kind of find out where they're at, you could actually try to call that person. So they might even say a person's name. So pay attention. I mean, be ready to take down notes, because if you don't, then you might be like, what was that name they told me? So if they give you a last name, like, oh, the Jacksons are, thinking about moving, look up in the tax records and find the Jacksons.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Pattie.
Not to make it sound like we're like bad people or anything, but
oh yeah,
we're trying to help people. So you got to keep thinking that I'm helping people. So, oh, you found one. Good.
Hey, Pattie, I had a question as well, as I really love the cold call. I was using cold, and I also find that the numbers are just not that great. Do you ever use skip tracing? And then in the event you just can't find a good number, do you add them to any other marketing, campaign, postcard, letter? No,
unless they're already in our farm. I just feel like I try not to junk up our database too much. And it already, it is. I mean, it's 16 years in the business, and you'll start being like, who is that person? So we only add people that we've talked to. And so that's this is a marketing piece Kevin just pulled up that we put out in a neighborhood that we've sold 2 listings, and the one actually on the right side is one that we helped them buy that house, and then they went back, and it's a West Cobb neighborhood. So this is an example of a marketing piece that we send out to the neighborhood, and then of course called around trying to find more listings in there. There's one that says door knock. Oh, this is okay. This is kind of one right here. So this is something a piece of marketing material that we took around to door knock. And so it has the different scenarios. And I have an older one too, that actually, this is pretty old because that's my old picture, but But we have one also that even makes it a little bit more personal, that's older, that says like, I don't give last names out, but I might say, Jim and John or whatever, these two people, basically sweet family with a sweet young family with a baby or whatever, so you kind of make it a little bit more personal for your people. Like that one right there. I am working with a very sweet family who is interested in purchasing your home, in your neighborhood. So. And this was when I was looking for a home for somebody this is a active adult community that I had a client that really wanted, and the neighborhood was only like 2 years old, so it was kind of challenging to find a resale in there, and it was all sold out except for a couple of bad lots. So that was one, and we actually did go on. We were able to show one in there, and I met some good people that are now in our database that hopefully one day. When people go to active adult communities, don't think that they're not going to move, because a lot of times they choose an active adult community that is close to where their family is. So if their family gets transferred to Texas or something, there's a good chance they might follow them. Or something happens medically and they really need to have, because some of the people that move into the 55 plus are actually, 77 plus or older, they're older and so they might go through some medical issues that they're not wanting to stay in a community that doesn't have the, they're really just like fun communities that have no kids. So, okay. So cold calling for buyers and listings are kind of the same thing. You're just changing up the scripts. I am assuming that Autherine has shared a lot of scripts with you guys for cold calling around neighborhoods. So find the ones that you like and use whatever service you can. And then, Fast People Search is a good one, but you might have another one that you're paying for. Oops, my screen went black. Yeah, there it goes. That's weird. Okay. So let's see. So the 4 C's of prospecting is actually something that in the past has been in the Ignite program. I'm assuming it still is. I haven't taught that class for a really long time. I usually teach the selling your listing class because that's kind of my fun thing. I like it. That's kind of my thing, is getting the listing sold. So the 4 C's of prospecting: capture, connect, close, and cultivate. So capturing them is like all the things we were just talking about. Even with your SOI, you meet someone, you get them in your database and you capture them. Connecting with them is making it more personal, making sure that you stay in touch with them, learning about them, the Ford method of family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. I haven't said that for a while. So, using the connecting is using like the Ford, or there's all different kinds of acronyms for that. So make sure you connect with them and then stay connected with them. Closing for an appointment when you do hear that they're thinking about making a move, or they have a family member thinking about making a move. So you want to try to close for the appointment always, and continue to try to close. Like if you call someone and they say, well, my house is just a mess right now, I just don't want to have you in yet. Like, that's fine. It's okay.
Bala, please mute yourself. Thank you.
I wasn't sure who that was. It's not on my screen. Thank you. So, and then cultivate, and cultivating them again is, even once you close, you want to really stay in touch with them. And you can start with right after closing. Make sure you call them the day after they move into that house and just say, hey, I just want to see if there's anything you need. How did the move go? A lot of agents, even, I know Libby delivers cookies like the day they are moving in. I think she has cookies delivered to them. So there's a lot of things you can do. Have a pizza delivered to them, whatever. And then, but at least by the next day, always call and make sure everything's okay, because sometimes there's even little things that go wrong once they close on their house. Maybe they, have a leak or something, and they're like, oh my God, we woke up this morning and the sink is leaking or something. It's like, oh, did you get a plumber? And, they're new to the area. They don't know anyone, and you might be the one to save them and find them somebody. But just cultivate, a month into it, call them again and say, hey, just wanted to see how you're probably pretty settled in now. How's it going in your new house? Is there anything you need? So that's with closing with somebody who's buying a house. With somebody selling, even people that move out of the area, we work on cultivating because they still know people back home where we're at. So to keep that relationship going, sending out the 1 year or even 6 month if you want. Congratulations, you've been in your house for 6 months or 1 year or whatever. So you could even send them flowers on their anniversary, on their anniversary date or whatever. So just really cultivating. So that's the 4 C's of prospecting. Door knocking, we did talk about that a little bit. We have found that door knocking, especially when you have a good reason, like you have a buyer or you're having an open house. So when you guys do an open house for even another agent, you really need to door knock if it seems like the times are right, which I think we're getting back into that. Door knocking is a great way. You make up a little invitation with that property address on it and go and find people to invite. And who doesn't like to be invited to something, and make it worth their invitation. Maybe the house has a beautiful kitchen that's just renovated in the past year, say, oh my gosh, even if you're not looking or don't know anybody looking, you should come by just to see this kitchen. It's amazing. Or the backyard is incredible, or whatever it is. Find something about that house. Maybe it's a real fixer-upper. Say, you know what? This house has such potential. You should come and see it, because you might actually even think of someone who might want to renovate it and flip it. So, whatever it is, you're inviting them to something. So give them the invitation. Now for that, we actually have left invitations on mailboxes on the outside, because you're not allowed to put stuff in their mailbox. But the best way to do it to not get people mad at you is to punch a hole in the invitation and take a rubber band and do the little loopy thing and loop it onto the opener, because then you're not putting tape on their mailbox, or, unless you have magnets you can use. But it's an inexpensive way to, we've actually done with our leftover brochures. We just did that in a neighborhood where we took our nice, folded brochures, and we had multiple offers. So we had all these leftover brochures. So we put one on every single mailbox in the neighborhood with that way. So looking for your buyers, again, using like a little sheet that says, we have this sweet family, looking, who do you know? If you're thinking about selling, we would love to talk to you. And always trying to get their information. So have a reason to get their information, their email. When you're door knocking, it's good to get an email and even a phone number if they're willing. Just say, I can, if it's for your buyer, would you mind sending me give me your email so that I can remind you of any other buyer needs we have in the neighborhood, since you've lived here for a long time or whatever. So, but, and connect with them, if they have a pretty yard, talk about their pretty yard. Oh, do you have a landscaper? I'm always looking for great vendors. If their house looks like it was just freshly painted, just say, God, your house looks in beautiful condition. Did you just have it painted? Or, just come up with things that make them feel like you're complimenting them, or you need their help, or, give them a reason to connect with you. So any questions about door knocking? Or I didn't ask about that with the 4 C's. So that was just something I kind of threw in there. But door knocking? Does anybody, who has door knocked in the group? And I can't see you all, so just Adrienne, Adrian, Nisha, yeah. And
I have in a while though.
And Brenda has.
Okay, and I know some of you guys have been, are newer in real estate, so obviously it's not been the right climate for door knocking in the past year or so. So when as soon as things definitely where everybody's been vaccinated, get out there and try it. Just find a neighborhood that you want to farm, maybe your own neighborhood. And sometimes it's good to start with your own neighborhood because it makes you feel more comfortable.
Yeah.
So, okay. So one thing I didn't add to this, I don't do a lot. I have in the past. Whenever I've had a coach, they kind of encourage you to call expired and FSBO listings. And so I forgot to put that on here, which is a big mistake, because that is like instant listings potentially if you get really good at your scripts with them. And staying in touch with them. So for sale by owners, the thought is that whoever is the last man standing is the one that's going to get the listing. Have you guys heard that?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah. Whoever stays in touch gets the listing.
So what that means is that, you have like 80, probably 90% of the agents that call that for sale by owner one time. and maybe even go visit the house. And then that person never hears from them again. So, and then you've got the small group of agents that might get in touch with them maybe 2 times, 3 times, maybe do like go see the house and then do a follow-up. And then you've got the one that you need to be. And that's the one that not only goes to visit them, sends them a thank you note, sends them something of value, such as how to stay safe when you're showing your home as a for sale by owner. Give them the items of value. You're calling them every week, maybe even twice a week. Yeah, you can offer to do an open house for them. I've noticed a lot of agents lately are doing like a 1-day listing agreement. And what a great way to do it. It's like they can have a professional hold their house open for 1 day with the listing agreement and help them to sell the house. So but be the one to stay in touch, because it might take a month, it might take 2 weeks. I mean, they'll get tired of it pretty quick, of, having people, want to come see their home at unusual times and, whatever it is. So just be the one to keep calling them. So that's for sale by owners, the last man standing. Just remember that. With expireds, it's really kind of first who gets to them first and also keeps up with them. So when we've noticed expireds that, especially if they have really bad pictures and no staging, which is like one of my pet peeves. I am a huge person about presentation. And so we will drop off actually a package to their door, a pre-list package. And, it's going to be a few dollars to leave them something like that with a treat in there. We usually do some Girl Scout cookies or something. But we'll have a package of our marketing, our print marketing, and what we email out. And then we have a list that shows what all of our marketing pieces are, like kind of like a summary. And then so they know what they're looking at. So like if they look at a caravan sheet, they know that it's something that we actually email out to all the agents in the area. So we give them that, and we have like a little booklet that we've made up that has, just about us, about our marketing, about the listing to close process. And then it even has, like kind of a basic on how to prepare your home. So we drop that off on the ones that we really want. And you kind of have to decide how bad you want it. Do I really want to take the effort to go drop something off at this house? How bad do I want that listing? Or is it just, I'm just going to call them and try to stay in touch with them that way? But in the times that I have focused on that, we have definitely gotten expired listings. I don't focus on it right now. I'm very busy with just my SOI and referral business. And the other thing I don't have on here is open houses. I'm sorry, I admit I put this together last night, so I'm missing 2 really. And honestly, open houses come second to us for our SOI business. And when I say SOI, that is for me, SOI directly and the people they refer to us. So it's like, to me, that's all one group, because you're, getting your SOI to refer to you. But open houses, Kevin and I we have had so much business from open houses. And it's really just advertising the heck out of it. We advertise it on Facebook. We put it, we email it out to all of our sphere of influence, because guess what? That's another way to touch them and say, hey, I'm selling homes. And they might not come to it, and they most likely won't come to it unless they're interested in the neighborhood or something, but they'll again see that you're busy and you're selling homes. And so we have, we have been able to turn over quite a few, get listings. And in fact, that Halstead Lakes he put up with the 2 homes that we sold, one of them was our past client that we helped buy the home. The second one was actually someone that came to check us out at the open house. And he even kind of like didn't tell me the truth about why he was there. He didn't tell me he was a resident at first, and it was kind of funny. So, but his aunt also came, who doesn't live with them, but she had noticed the marketing that we do, I guess. And she came by first, and then it's funny. And then he came by later, but he said, he finally did fess up, and he said, well, my aunt sent me over here because she said that we need to not hire the guy we were going to hire and talk to you instead. So, and I will tell you guys, there's a lot of agents out there that just really don't even know what they're doing. And they show up and they said, so this guy that they had already interviewed, and they were going to hire him because they don't know any better. And a lot of people just don't know any better. And he walked in their house. He said, let me look at it. Oh, you don't need to do anything. And he didn't even sit down with them and go over comps or anything. He was just like, they said, well, we think our house is worth this. And he just goes, that sounds about right. I mean, that was his whole listing appointment. So they were kind of blown away with me when I came in, and not that I'm so great at listing appointments, but I have just years of experience, but I had comps and I went around the house with them and I pointed out some things that they should do. But I always tell people, because they try to get it all out of you, I say, you know what? That's why you need to hire me, because once you hire me, I'm really going to give you a detailed list of all the things that you need to do. And if you do just 70% of it, your home will be a huge hit. So I try not, I don't give away the whole farm when I'm at the listing appointment. I get them to sign before I give it all away. In my old days, when I first got into real estate, I used to go in there and tell them everything. And then all of a sudden I'd see their house on the market with all my suggestions and with another agent. I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that anymore. The other thing I've learned when you do go on an appointment, and this is not finding listings, but it's actually just getting the listing, is you've got to convince them that you love their home, and to some degree, because that's another lesson I learned years ago. I would call up and if I didn't get the listing, I would say, well, can you tell me, what it was about my listing? What was I missing? Or, what made you hire the other person? Is there something I could have done differently? And I had one lady that actually came out and said to me, and then the listing went to someone else in our office. It was in East Cobb. And she said, I just felt like you didn't love our home. And I was like, oh, and authoring knows me. I can be a little harsh about decor and what needs to be done. So I've had to learn how to zip it until I get the listing. Once I have it signed, and then I can be hard on them. So don't go in and be like, oh, you've really got to paint that red wall. Just say, oh, if you bring it up at all, it's like, I think that this room looks so great. Sometimes neutral colors though will make it more appealing to a larger buyer pool. So, the goal is to expose your home to the largest buyer pool possible and make it attractive to as many people as possible to get hopefully, a great offer or even multiple offers. So you just have to be very careful what you say in the beginning. You love their house, you get personal with them, you love on their dog. If you're a dog person, if you don't like dogs, then, pretend like you do. Because people love people that love their children and their dogs. Talk to their kids, if their kids are in the room, and when you get over there, then, say, oh, hey, what grade are you in? And, try to have a little conversation with their child, because people love it. They like you to get personal. So, okay, that was actually going on the appointment. So we're going to get back to what we're doing. Vendors. Okay. So we all have vendors that we work with, that we give business to. And I don't mean just our inspectors and actually it's it's more challenging to get leads out of the people that we work with in the industry. The people that I think you need to focus on is like your insurance agent, your doctors. When you go for your dentist appointment, bring them a healthy treat in or something. And get them on even if you have to just mail something to the doctor's office or whatever, send them a postcard, all the and sitting around there chatting, and the mail comes and they're like, oh, look at it, Pattie Jackson just listed his house. So, you can kind of touch them all without even having their home addresses. But think about all the people, your nail people. One of my first early clients in like 2008, I think, or 7, and first couple of years I was in real estate, I was getting my glasses, getting new prescription for glasses at Walmart. And the young girl, I noticed the young girl helping me had an engagement ring on. Guess what? Sold them a house. So, you see people in the grocery store, if they're, definitely pregnant and have a 2-year-old at their heels, just say, oh my gosh, that's so exciting. You're going to have a new sibling, and then say, do you need a bigger house to go with that new baby? I have said that. Make sure they're pregnant though. Let's see. What other vendors? Authoring. Can you think of some vendors that are unusual that people should look out for? Someone who changes your tires, or
your landscapers.
Landscapers, yes.
They know when people are going to move.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're not really in the industry, so that's a good one because they're not really in the industry, but yet they know when people are moving. Same with painters. A lot of times painters will know. Does anybody have any vendors that they've asked for business yet that they can share?
I actually got a listing from my organizer.
Oh,
Amy, you said your organizer?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a listing, and so I hired an organizer, and I just asked her, like, hey, do you know if anybody who wants to, buy or sell? And she was like, actually, yeah, I'm working on this hoarder house right now, and they want to list in this order.
That's
and I'm
awesome.
like, great.
That's awesome. Especially if it's an organizer that's not in the business. Like we have our organizer that's on our list in the office, so she knows lots of agents. Not that you can't get business from those people. I mean, you can certainly ask and, and bring it up to them. And, we have one of the lenders we work with they gave us a lead one time, and it ended up being like, we sold their house last year for $360, and they bought a house for $480. So, just from one little lead left, came to a pretty good, and it was pretty quick too. They were like, oh, we're not that serious. And then we went out looking at homes the first time, and they're like, actually, you know what? Now that we're looking, we really do want to get moved before the new school year next year. So,
and I would say, you guys, you can have your own list of vendors.
You can.
You can actually start putting together your own list of reputable vendors. Yep. And that's a good reason to call your sphere of influence and say, hey, I'm putting together a great list of vendors. Who do you use that could be on this list?
Yeah, that's actually one of our calls every year.
Yeah, and then once you get that name, just go ahead and call that person and say, hey, Pattie Jackson told me you were a fantastic landscaper and she would never use anybody else. And so I'm putting together a list, and I'd love to meet you for coffee or whatever to get to know a little bit more about your business or whatever. And just like she said, connect and then close them, later on. They might be buying a house, or they might know somebody. My painter has given us like 3 referrals, and he's gonna buy another piece of property, and he's gonna buy through us.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Yeah, that's definitely true. And then also they might start, you might get to the point where you have such a great relationship, they might even help sponsor events you have. So we've done, like we do our barbecue, but we've done lots of other types of events where we've asked people to help out. One of our vendors, for our barbecue, the one vendor we've asked the last couple of years, they bring a big Yeti gift for us to use as a prize. And then we had another vendor that just helped with, like, they covered, the wine or whatever it was, they gave us money to cover something at the barbecue. We did a brewery event right before COVID. I think it was actually in March. It's like right before COVID hit here last year. And we did like a little, because we have a lot of young clientele now, because, I'm at the age where, I have kids that age. So we know a lot of millennials. My millennials work with millennials. So that age group, and that is 38% of buyers out there are millennials. So don't ignore them, and don't think that they can't spend some money, because, we had one couple that bought a $700,000 house and they were like under 30. We've had a lot of them buy 300 to 400, in the 300 to 400 range. So, and the good thing about them is that, they're going to move up in a few years. The average for millennials to stay in a house is 2 to 5 years. So, because they get married, they start families, they might not even be married when they buy the house, and then they start families, and they, before you know it, they're looking to move into different schools or a bigger house. So, they're good to keep up with. So ads and marketing, I've kind of covered that throughout, but we do Facebook ads. We do them through command, and to get ideas, guys, don't just keep your head in just our office connections. There's some really great Facebook groups out there that you can learn a lot, such as, is anybody part of Lab Coat Agents? I guess not.
I am.
You are? Okay, good. Because Lab Coat Agents is, hey, Brenda. Lab Coat Agents is, you get a lot of people asking questions that you're like, oh, that's a great question. And then you start going through the feed and you get like 50, 100 different ideas on that particular question. So, and it's, there's a lot of really top, huge agents that are in that feed, in that group. So join that group, Lab Coat Agents. It's actually I believe Keller Williams, isn't he? Keller Williams. What is his name? Nick Baldwin. So he's like a big wig with Keller Williams, one of the huge agents and everything, probably probably owns some market center shares and everything. And but he's like the one that started it with what's the other guy's name? Tristan, anyway. So yeah, but there's all kinds of really great Facebook connections out there. So, and once you kind of get into one, you'll get ideas. You'll even find other ones because of being on that one. So, let's see, ads and marketing. We do the postcards. We do really nice marketing for our listings, and you know what? It doesn't sell the house at all. What it does is that it makes people want to hire you. And it also makes other people that come into the home. We've gotten a lot of listings by neighbors coming into the house and seeing our marketing and going, wow, this is what beautiful marketing you do. Are they selling the books again at the office now? We can all, we've always been able to get these have you guys seen the hardback books at the office? They're like that you can, and there's a machine at the office for Unibind, it's called, and we have these hardback books that have KW on them, and they were going to stop. Oh, here we go. So we do this as our home book, and I tell you, the sellers are just like, wow, that's impressive, and they think that we've like ordered this book online or something, like we've had to actually go to a bookmaker to make it, when we just actually buy the book. It's like $6 in the office for these, so we buy like 10 at a time if they're still selling them. If they're not, we all need to get on them to get them again, because it's a lot more expensive to do it outside of the office, when the office gets like more like a group rate or something, or office rate. So anyway, so it's just all about the home. So like, this is the first page, it has the house, and then we have like the welcome home. We do kind of a romanticized, cute little story about the area, the neighborhood, whatever it is. If it's not a great neighborhood, it's like if there's only one street and there's no amenities or anything, then you might want to add in the area, there's, walk across to the park, or, whatever it is. So just kind of make that up. And then we do about the home, and that has, it starts with the pretty stuff, which is distinctive features. We do distinctive features, and we think of every single thing we can. Most homes only have one page. This particular home had a lot of upgrades, I guess. So it was a 2-pager. And then we also use this to get the appraisal, have the appraisal go through. We always meet the appraiser, and we bring this to them, so the appraiser doesn't miss any of the features about the house. So when he's considering, other comps, he's like, oh yeah, but that house has, Wolf appliances, or, something he might forget. Buyers love to know about utilities. So we have our sellers give us, in their homework that we give them, we have them include their averages and everything, if they know them, and the companies they use and everything, so that a buyer can go, oh, that's great. And then we can shoot it over to the agent when we go under contract. And the agents love that we're so helpful. And then all about the schools, the area. And then we also have even a list of restaurants. So, which is nice. If you know, like an agent from, in town is going to show one of your East Cobb listings or West Cobb listings, you say, oh, by the way, in the back of my book, if you're looking at a bunch of homes and, out in this area, there's a list of restaurants that I recommend. So it kind of gives you more connection. You want to keep those relationships with the agents as much as with people, with the people that you're trying to get business with. So
I love that. I hope we can still get that. I saw it at an open house I did for you. I thought for sure that would have been just so expensive for.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, they're like $6. And then they have the machine in the office. So you just take your pages and you stick it, there's glue in the back of them, and you stick them in this machine, and voila, in 5 minutes you have a book.
That's awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, I thought about doing them with our logo on them, but it's just not cost, it's just not worth it. I just feel like, you know what, we do enough branding that, so key things, guys, are get on the phone. These are my top 3. Get your, what's on the phone, make your calls every day. Connect, make sure that you keep good notes on everybody. Oh, I'll show you my little book that Kevin made me. Is that down here? I got to show you my cute book that Kevin made me. Oh, here it is. Okay. So, I know that we use Command and we put all of our notes in there and everything. And I have Command pulled up and I put my notes in as I'm talking to people. But just for encouragement for me, I like things in writing. So if you're a person that likes things in writing, this is my Pattie's business book. And it's one of the bold laws, what you focus on expands. And it's my dream lake house that I'm going to have someday. And even my dog see my dog on the dock. He put my dog on the dock. And there's Chester on the back on the dock. So it's just a book of, it just has, just kind of the basics. I have the date at the top and then the people I've called. I put what, that if they're a conversation or not. Usually I'm doing one type of call. So like at the top, I put SOI calls. If I'm doing cold calls, I put, CC calls. And then I put whether, my conversation, and then I put a little note about it. Or what I've been doing lately, because I run out of room with all the conversations I have, but is I'll just put C Command. So now I just kind of know that I just put my notes in Command, but this way I can look and go, ooh, gosh, I did pretty bad last week. I didn't call very many people. And then I'll have some weeks that are really good. So just helps to keep you focused if you have some little fun things like that to keep you engaged. And
basically using it as something to have in your face so you can see it immediately.
Yes. Yeah.
Without logging on to your computer to go in and check.
Yeah. And some people, I know that there's some agents that can really, like use the command and like I use both at the same time. I am a very visual person. So when I don't have that whole list of people in front of me, or when I don't have my, the people I've talked to right in front of me, and it also makes you feel good. Like you're, when you're doing your task, you actually, you click that you've done the task and then they disappear. I like the fact that I can look at that and be like, oh, yay, me, I talked to, 15 people or whatever. So, yeah. So make sure that you keep up with your notes, make sure that, make your calls, but also make sure that you follow up. Follow up is huge. More agents lose business over not following up with a lead. Even with your SOI. I mean, you're going to learn the hard way. If you're new in the business, it probably hasn't happened to you yet, but you're going to learn the hard way and then hopefully get better about it. Or maybe you could just decide to be better about it. But with follow-up is that if if someone says, yeah, my daughter's graduating in a year. I mean, we just sold a house where that happened, but it's like follow up with them in the nicest way, like not bugging. I'm like, oh, are you ready yet? Are you ready yet? If they say it's a year out, just make sure that you're in touch with them, send them a birthday card, send them, make sure that you're continually, send them reports, do a quarterly neighborhood report for them, or East Cobb report or West Cobb report, whatever it is of the area, and showing them that you're keeping up with their market. The market where their house is. So just do whatever it takes to make sure that by the time they actually say, okay, now we're ready, that they're going, oh, wow, Pattie Jackson, she kept up with me all the time. She's kept me up on the market. And, you're going to be the first one they're going to think of to call. So lead generation, follow up, and get your names on your directionals. That's my top 3 advice tips.
I love it. Thank you so much. I love your transparency and just being so willing to help us.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Oh, well, it's my pleasure. Great. You guys have a great day. Go make your phone calls.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.